Hi everyone, I'm Janelle with Toons Unlimited, and today I am going to cover a form request issue that a individual is having. George is having a problem with one of his character's eyes. He's trying to get them imported into the application, but is having some challenges. So stay tuned as we cover this form issue coming up right now. ToonsUnlimited.com. Okay, so here I am, and this is George's eye for his character and his form issue. Let me bring up his problem. So as you can see, he has the eye sprite and he's trying to get it imported into his character. However, he's having problems making the eye move and rotate around once he's in there. So he's asked me to take a look at the files, and he was nice enough to send everything to me. So not only do I have the character, which I can test out to make sure everything's working correctly, but I have the actual Adobe Animate file that he created it in. Okay, so here is George's file of the right eye, and as you can see, everything is in place, but what I noticed, the layers look fine. Nothing's wrong with the layers. When I unlocked everything, and I'm just going to hide the other three layers and just start with the first one. This is saved as a bitmap, and basically none of the layers right now are saved as symbols. So the first issue is all of them needs to be converted into a symbol, and then all of the movie clips then needs to be renamed to match their layers. So I'm going to run through these real quick and hide them and do them one at a time. I'm going to go ahead and convert this to a symbol. Just going to kind of rush through and get them all converted to symbols. And you don't really need to do anything with the eyelid layer, so I won't bother that. But we have them all as symbols, but the next thing you need to do is name the symbols, um, not the symbols, name the instance to match the layer that you're on. So this is my image layer, and right here it sees, as you can see, the image, the instance name has not been given. I need to provide it a name. So I'm going to go ahead and name this image. I'm going to hide this. I'm going to name this one pupil. Hide this, and I'm going to name this one mask. So now they match up according to the layers that they're on. Now that everything's back up, I can lock my mask and my pupil layer, and everything looks the same except for now it's actually been saved correctly. Now, if you're a person who have the puppet producer, you could have easily clicked on each image and just hit the shortcut link that Ibis has created, which would have done it much faster. But in this case, I wanted to make sure that you knew how to do it both ways. But if you were working on the image, you would have just hit this one and it would have created the instance and everything for you. Would have converted it to a symbol and created the correct name for the image, the pupil, or the mask. But we're going to go ahead and save this now, and I am going to name it as Red Eye, which is already labeled. Okay, so I have Crazy Talk Animator 3 up, and I have brought up George's character, and I am getting ready to add the new eye expression. So this is the right eye. I'm going to go ahead and look for the right eye file. And here it is. And I'm not really sure exactly the size that he's looking for, but I'm just going to kind of get it to something I think is comfortable. just so we can test everything out. So that's the eye expression. I'm going to close out. Okay, so here we are in the stage mode. I'm going to select the file and do a Command K to bring up the facial editor. And since I'm only working with this eye, I'm going to have this eye checked only, but I am able to move his eyelid around. Now, the reason why it's dipping this far is because you have to make sure where your mask layer ends at is on that line, and it looks like in this case it's not. So what I would recommend doing, I'm going to hop back to Adobe Animate real quick, and I'm going to bring up the mask layer and see what went wrong. And the best way to see it is to make this a little transparent. And as you can see, it goes past that borderline. So if you don't want the eye pupil to dip that low, you need to make modifications to it. And I am going to bring it up to about right here instead, because that will keep it within the eyelid range and it shouldn't go any further. So I'm going to go ahead, go back to properties, and I'm going to take the transparent off, make it 100% visible. I'm going to lock the mask pupil layer again and save it and see if we get some better results this time. So let me pop this back into the composer. And let's just replace this with the new eye expression. And let's see how it behaves this time. So this time it's a little better, and you can still once again make additional adjustments. It's entirely up to you how much you want it to go. The other thing I would recommend is to make sure that this can go further down. Looking at this design, this is his bags over his eyes. I can't redraw this because it was created as an image, a bitmap image, whereas the other ones were created using symbols. But if I was you, let me go back to Adobe Animate. If I was you, I would make this portion be your eye. So let me hide the eyelid real quick. Just this main oval right here at the top be your image layer. I would have both this eyelid and everything that's below be a part of your eyelid. It should be at the top layer. And then that way, your mask, if your mask was longer, your pupil can go further down. So it's like it's going down towards the bags instead of stopping the way it's at right now. That would be my recommendation for you. Now, I know somewhere I read that you wanted to also make a closed, you also wanted to make a closed eyelid state. And you really didn't give me the information to do it, but let me bring the mask up and go into that layer real quick. Since this is basically the exact shape, I could eliminate that. Let me see, let me grab this color that's here. All right, and I can get on the mask layer. Let me get inside it. I could paste it like this, and probably take my brush and black line and just probably draw a nice little, that's a little thin, but all right, that should be better. right eye closed. So there you have it. You can actually get the eyes to work. I will send you the files. The last thing I would recommend is the way you set this up. So this is your main page, and your main page went right into your eye expression. And I would suggest, let me create a new file real quick. I would suggest that you start off with a symbol and call it your right eye. And then from there, all of the symbols that you want to create for your right eye, whether it's normal, exert, close, close, sad, scared, all of these different expressions that's listed in the Puppet Producer, you can create them on different frames and have them all grouped together. So to get a better understanding of what I'm talking about, let me bring in the character that I am currently working on here, Mr. Trump. When I go into his eye, it's just the left eye, right? But when I go inside, I can see all of the different eye expressions. I have them all grouped in together, and as a result, it allows me to import them in all at once. And I know that they're all the exact same size, and they're in the exact location that I want them at, instead of kind of doing everything manual. It's just a recommendation. If you only have a handful of expressions, you can definitely do it manually and won't have any problems. Or if you're using the pro version and that's the only way you can import them in, you can also do that as well. But when you have it set as on your main layer, the scene layer, you create the eye expression, and when you go inside, then you have all of those expressions related to that one eye. It kind of makes it easier to kind of keep up with things. So that's my only recommendation I would give to you. Everything else you pretty much did correctly. It was just that you did not go inside and name all of your symbols: image, pupil, and mask. So hope this helps. Take care. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for new content every week. If you would like to purchase my product, head over to my store for characters, props, and scenes. If you enjoyed this video, here is a link to another video you might like from this channel. Thanks for joining, and take care.